What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 41. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. It is like a couple days before deadline day, and I know Fabrizio Romano is drinking a whole lot of espresso or something in prep, but we got to get talking because there is just so much to cover, so much going on.
True. And if you're not understanding what Fabrizio Romano means, it's transfers, people. And we have to go bold on this topic. And big part of this episode is gonna be dedicated to the transfer guys. But we will talk about news, Wonderkid news, and we'll try to spice it up some questions. But going to the transfers, we gotta talk about the big winners, okay, right now in this transfer window. Juventus, signing up Vlahovic for 70 million, and getting 7 million net salary for Vlahovic. Top deal by the club. Number 7 is safe, and this is the guy, Vlahovic, who equaled Cristiano Ronaldo's goal record in Serie A. So having Vlahovic makes perfect sense, and seeing the tweets of Vlahovic, I don't know if it's 2016 or 2018, but Vlahovic said on social media that the greatest is Cristiano, so he's following the greatest footsteps at Juventus. But yes, a lot of top deals with Juventus, man. I gotta mention.
Yeah, it is, and they also seem to be clearing some dead wood, if you will. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, the Vlahovic deal. I don't know. I mean, you and I wouldn't say we were totally convinced he was going to wind up in the Premier League, but just based on the needs of certain teams in the Premier League, we really thought that they would go hard, and they probably did after Vlahovic. And for Juventus to come in and do that, it's poetic that he takes the number 7 right after in 2021 matching Cristiano Ronaldo's goal total, right, in the Serie A. And it's funny that like they dug up a tweet. I don't know. Twitter seems to be able to do all sorts of crazy things, like digging up tweets from 6 years ago just to convince everybody that, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo is the GOAT in Vlahovic's eyes. But you gotta love it, right? You just gotta love it. And they got their man, and Serbian football, they've got their man that's going to lead them into the future. They're already qualified for the World Cup. Like, things are great for fans of Serbian football. But I gotta ask you, do you think he's going to be, you know, Juventus isn't exactly a finished specimen. This isn't like Inter Milan or even AC Milan, where you know the midfield is going to supply Vlahovic like exhaustively, right? Whoa. They're going to do it really well. How do you feel about Juventus's capacity to get him fed, right?
First of all, I think the Vlahovic deal helps a ton in keeping Chiesa at Juventus. Okay, that's the first thing. Second, I think Juventus is also with that concern that you're mentioning, and that's why they got Locatelli. Okay, and Locatelli for me is going to be cements himself in that Juventus midfield. But there is a problem, and there is no solution still at Juventus, that Kulusevski does leave, but Kulusevski leaves as someone that didn't work out at Juventus, let's be honest. He's got a 40 million buy option for Tottenham. But not mentioning too much on that still, but Dybala too. Dybala's going to go. Dybala's going to leave Juventus. So I am sure that Juventus must be thinking already about that creative player behind Vlahovic. But getting Vlahovic seeks and shows ambition from Juventus' side to be one of the best. Because, let's be honest, the whole world wanted Vlahovic. And him, by staying in Serie A and going to Juventus, is top deals. And I think Denis Zakaria is mentioned to go to Juventus too. And that is a terrific deal. And, yes, it doesn't bring that creativity that they will still sign. Okay, a player that I'm mentioning here. But getting Zakaria, getting Locatelli, that is already creating a good pillars in that team.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to like argue with myself here, right? Because while I do have worries about the creativity for setting up Vlahovic moving forward, they might also have it, because if you bring in Denis Zakaria, which it's I think for like 7 million euros, he's coming. His contract is coming up to an end, so there's a lot of clubs fighting for him. And I know Fabrizio's getting ready to say, "Here we go" on Zakaria there. That does free up a couple pieces. It frees up Locatelli to be a whole lot more progressive. It frees up, and this might be a little more Homer, but one of the best Juventus players over the last few months has been Weston McKennie. And Weston McKennie, he might not be Mr. like through ball. He might not be, the most creative, but he is everywhere on the pitch.
I agree.
And if he can link up with Vlahovic, right, and Vlahovic's ability to hold the ball up, and you get a little bit better of a wing presence. I mean, that's the thing here. It's not necessarily about keeping Chiesa, right? It's about keeping Chiesa healthy.
I agree.
And he's not healthy, and I would love for him to be, because this Juventus team looks like they're building the right way for the future. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that stood out to me was not the 70 million plus or 75 million euros that it took to get Vlahovic. Did you see those agent fees? I mean, my God, I'm in the wrong business. It was like 15 million euros to the agents.
Oh man, it's that happens with Vinci, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But with that, I have to say too, ending the Vlahovic side on my end, it's Vlahovic leaves Juventus. He leaves Fiorentina for 70 to 75 million, and Fiorentina goes and gets Artur Cabral for 15 million. Yeah. I'm telling you, Fiorentina is teaching business to every single club that is growing right now and needs to learn how to get good deals. Because that is a terrific deal by Fiorentina. A prolific striker, young striker, and he's got something to prove that he's good enough and to replace Vlahovic at Fiorentina. So big up for the Artur Cabral, guys. Watch out.
Yeah. I mean, that just if you think Vlahovic was prolific with Fiorentina, look at Arthur Cabral's numbers for Basel, and there have been some very phenomenal players to come out of Basel. One of which currently, one of which is currently shooting for an AFCON final. But hey, Cabral has been just lights out for them, and I get it. It's a different standard, but my God, I think he's already above 20 goals this year. Last year was just crazy, and the crazy thing for Fiorentina is that they only spent, I believe, about 20 million euros of the 70-75 that they're going to get. They've brought in Akone. I might have said the name wrong. Who's a sneaky good playmaker, really sneaky good playmaker. They brought him in only for like 14-15. They got Nicolas Gonzalez a while back, so they do have the pieces. It's just whether or not Cabral has the same mobility that Vlahovic does in the same kind of like playmaking capacity, just like grab the game by the scruff of the neck type of capacity that Vlahovic does. But this is a great, low financial risk, high financial reward type of situation, like we talked about last week with Julian Alvarez. So. You're right. I actually, for some reason, didn't have Artur Cabral written down here. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a great move by Fiorentina.
It is. And you mentioned fast the move of Julian Alvarez to Man City. And I want to mention fast that Man City is another club that is teaching how to do business in football, okay? Because they sold Ferran Torres for £48 million, okay? And now they're buying Julian Alvarez for £18 million. That is top business by Man City in my eyes. I can't imagine how good the duo of Julian Alvarez and Phil Foden is going to be. The contract of Julian Alvarez is going to be until 2027, okay? Mad deal, in my opinion. It's so long to get that. So long. And 18.5 million. Bargain, okay? And I do think they went for Alvarez because Ferran left, literally. So it just shows that Man City are prepared for any outcome, and that shows a lot. And
it's funny. Alvarez could wind up not even playing that well for City or even playing for City. And they'll likely still make one hell of a return on him when all is said and done. So again, it's just one of those things where you're thinking 2-3 steps ahead of most clubs, most large clubs out 100%. There. And, okay, well, we're talking about the ins at Juventus. Do you want to talk about the outs at Juventus? All right. Let's go. I mean, I get Fabio Paratici. I get, wanting to go, what's the word? Stay within your wheelhouse, right?
Not going bold.
Not going bold. It feels almost like, and it feels weird calling Dejan Kulusevski and Rodrigo Bentancur like deadwood or driftwood or whatever you want to call it. That feels very weird because they're very fine footballers. Okay. But Spurs, Tottenham, where Fabio Paratici is, he moved from, I think he was at Juventus for like 12 years, right? Mm-hmm. He moved to Spurs, and it almost feels like a FOMO grab, right? A fear of missing out grab. Like, oh crap, we need somebody right now. Let's go sign somebody, and I don't know where else to look but my old team. Kulusevski has not been the Kulusevski of old. He has not been he's only 20, about to turn 22, so let's not like freak out here. Mm-hmm. But he has not been as good as he was before Atalanta signed him, before Juventus signed him, when he had that phenomenal year for, I believe it was Parma, right, in Serie A. He has not looked that good since then. He's provided some highlights here and there, and yet 40 million, potentially? 40 million euros? For Kulusevski, if it all goes well at Spurs. I just don't see how this works, except in the hands of Antonio Conte. It's not bold. It's not bold. It's just a very confusing FOMO deal for me, fear of missing out deal. And something tells me you don't like it either.
I don't. Because Kulusevski for 40 million, okay. If we're paying 40 million, I think that was the first offer they did to Luis Diaz. And you're mentioning the fear of missing out. But imagine the ways that Tottenham are being rejected, okay, by players in this January. We have Frank Kessié. He snubbed Tottenham. We have Luis Diaz. He clearly snubbed Tottenham. We have Adama Traore, which... Okay, I think, in my opinion, this must be embarrassing for Tottenham because Adama Traore was offered 120k a week at Tottenham, and he accepted a pay cut at Barcelona of 15k a week instead. So he would rather be at Barcelona, receive 15k, than 120k at Tottenham. Yes, he'd play at right wing back, but still... So, after all this, okay, I do understand that they go for a desperate call, but they are relying highly on Conte, knowing Kulusevski, and knowing Bentancur, in my opinion. And, I'm not too convinced. I am not too convinced. I even saw Oli Tanner, okay, a 7th-tier player, rejecting contract because of wages and personal terms. Not because of the tweet, people. Because of wages and personal terms. So this is how bad. 7th tier is rejecting Tottenham. Oh, man.
I'm with you. I do think, let's play devil's advocate here. I mean, maybe Antonio Conte is enough. He is a world-class manager. And maybe if you give not, slightly broken players or players that haven't quite realized their potential yet, maybe he goes Carlo Ancelotti on Dejan Kulusevski and we see him turn into regular old Vinicius in Premier League, right? I don't think it'll happen. I think there were previous issues with Dejan Kulusevski, and I don't know him. So, this is probably off base to say that there were attitude issues or that there were training issues. But I do remember that there were things that came out previously about it because he hasn't been fully healthy. He hasn't been fully integrated into that 11 until relatively recently. So I don't know. I gotta say from a devil's advocate perspective, maybe Antonio Conte is enough. Maybe he is the one that gets Kulusevski to his world-class potential, because I know, hey, Sweden, we talk about Norway all the time. We talk about Denmark. I know I do all the time. But Sweden has a hell of a footballing future, and Kulusevski is a big part of it. And he has created some awesome highlights in a Juventus shirt, just not as many as he did in the Parma shirt. Whoa. So we'll see.
I think
we'll
the
see.
best decision.
He went bold. I got to say, he did go bold. In the Coppa Italia final. He went bold in that Coppa Italia final. So
yeah, that is true. That is one of the best moments I saw Kulusevski too. But I think the best decision by Tottenham this January still is the fact that they got on loan Brian Gil to Valencia. Okay, don't leave him on the bench. Getting some minutes, going out, it's good. But I mentioned fast the Luis Diaz situation, and Luis Diaz did snub Tottenham, which I would have snubbed too if Liverpool were coming for me with the 45 million and 15 million offer. That's the right deal, in my opinion, for Luis Diaz. And interesting enough, Klopp was only targeting to get Luis Diaz in the summer, but Tottenham fancied their shot in January, and Liverpool thought to themselves, this is what we're going to offer better than this. This is how bad Tottenham looks now. They were 5 million away of actually getting Luis Diaz signed up at Tottenham. That's it doesn't look good. But Luis Diaz ends up his career at Porto with 125 games, 41 goals, and 15 assists. Okay, and great career at Porto. Another player that we're gonna see flourish outside the Portuguese league, but great to see, man. And it did. I have to say this too, from the Portuguese side of things. Like, Porto doesn't look good, in my opinion, by selling Luis Diaz in January. They are in a European competition to win it, and they could have sold him maybe for more in the summer. So this was a desperate call by Porto. Tem de resolver isto. So, guys, this wasn't a good call. But I like the Eustáquio move. That was a cheap bargain move, in my opinion, and replaces perfectly Sergio Oliveira, if not better. I rate Steven Eustáquio very high. Very high.
Yes,
so
you've been talking about him for years, and I know Canadians will be hoping he's lining up against the US over this weekend. So we'll see. I know he's had some COVID issues, but that is a sneaky good buy. But I didn't understand that either. Luis Diaz leaving, right now while Porto's having one of the better seasons they've had recently, and they look very good, and he's a massive part of that. But yeah, money does talk, and I know there's a lot of potential incentives beyond 45 million.
Can I say another thing too that's crazy about the Luis Diaz deal? It's the contract of Luis Diaz. This is why I find it so interesting now, seeing from the outside looking in now. This is why Liverpool have a tough problem, like getting the 400k a week deal with Salah. They got Luis Diaz until 2027 for 56k pounds a week.
That's good.
What? That is crazy good deal. Crazy good deal. Oh, my days. This just shows, like, Liverpool knows what they're doing. They know what Klopp is a genius. Klopp is a genius. And I might say that Klopp, in my lifetime, he must be top 3 players in terms of money management I've ever seen. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The guy doesn't need too much to win.
Yeah, I don't think it's too much of an overgeneralization to say that it's part of like a German managerial culture thing. Like there is that, like, do with what you can, and kind of know your boundaries, and I don't know. Bayern's shown it for years. Dortmund's shown it. Great business. They're just very, very good, and Klopp is off that cloth. So Luis Diaz under Klopp is going to be really fun to watch. And I mean, I just saying the names, right? We know Sadio Mane might leave. Okay,
he'll be better than him.
Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, say it all together. Sadio Mane, Salah. I mean, this is just excess.
Luis Diaz will be better than Sadio Mane straight away, off the bat.
Okay,
right off the bat.
Except Sadio Mane likely... Well, actually, no. Sadio Mane might not be playing at a World Cup. Luis Diaz might not be playing at the World Cup.
Salah might not be playing at the World Cup. Oh, my God. well,
Yeah,
Salah or Sadio Mane won't be. One of them
I
will.
know.
So for sure one. For sure one of the ones we mentioned will. But oh man, crazy business. I got it. So you mentioned shrewd, good business, and I was thinking to myself, you I'm not gonna say you're a Barca hater because I know you love Barcelona. You're not,
No.
but
No.
Adama Traore to Barcelona. I gotta say it. It's a beautiful deal by Barcelona, in my views, because as I said, this guy's gonna be getting 15K a week. Okay, low wages. A 35 million option to buy, which is not by obligation, so it's a decision to be made. He is a loan, 6-month loan, so yeah, no risk with that. And it's a player with the Barcelona DNA. And it leverages so Dembele can go. I think overall, Xavi will love this deal. And Barcelona, top deal, in my opinion. If you want cheap, good business, this is good, cheap business. Adama Traore to Barcelona.
Yeah, and he left Barcelona as a twig, and he comes back as a tank. So Adama Traore is he's a guy that I'm hit or miss on. Kind of like he's hit or miss. But you obviously he's top dribbler. He's top speed. If Xavi can give him even remotely a sense of direction or a sense of target, then Adama Traore can be a massive piece to the Barcelona rebuild, right? And yeah, from the business aspect, it is right in the wheelhouse of what they're trying to do. Beyond like all the crap coming out about like them potentially chasing Alvaro Morata or chasing a striker, a big name striker for a lot of money before they even have the money, right? This is essentially how you do it, and frankly, Barcelona needs to do more creative deals like this because it fits them financially, right? There are plenty of players that you can leverage the Barca project, the Barcelona rebuild, and the history and the culture of the club that will come and they will take pay cuts to play for Barcelona. That is huge, right? That is massive. It's the same as you're seeing it like, I want to go play for Stevie Gerrard at Villa. Some new names are popping up because Stevie Gerrard's at Villa. Frank Lampard potentially at Everton. Same thing. You might have some players that go, I want to play for Frank Lampard at Everton. True. Barcelona has the club history and that legend running the show. It's not hating Barcelona. It's just hating the fact that they precariously put themselves in this situation. And understanding that a rebuild does not happen as quick as it could be. But hey, they're putting the right pieces together, so we'll see.
I agree totally with all your points. And it is true. That is something that Barcelona have to leverage. And let's be honest, Breton. A player becomes a top player in a season with Barcelona. On social media, the player's life has changed. Immediately. So if Adama Traore causes the impact and those moments, those epic moments that he can do with Barcelona, with those epic highlights, a lot of good can happen, man. Lot of good. So going on the opposite end, because not leveraging the, let's say what the club is right now, but the money, I gotta say, and this is an expose to Arsenal, because Newcastle signed Bruno Guimarães for 40 million. And now this is a question I'm asking to myself. Why didn't Arsenal go get him? Literally. Like, Arsenal don't get Bruno Guimarães for 40 million, but Newcastle does? Are you serious? So, Newcastle, new management, new everything, already, in my opinion, doing better deals? This is embarrassing. Arsenal go get Ben White for 50, but don't pull the trigger for Bruno Guimarães with 40.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I know he doesn't necessarily play exactly the same role as Odegaard, but ultimately, Arsenal needs a striker. They have other things. They have other things. But I get you. And the fact that Newcastle could land Guimarães is very impressive to me. But it kind of makes sense because Lyon is in a fight for at least European spots. Like the middle of League One is very, very tight. Okay. But at the same time, Lyon isn't playing PSG football, right?
True.
Anytime soon. And frankly, they've held on to some of their stars, their academy stars for years, and some of their stars for too long, like Ior, and they're not giving Rayon Cherki the chance. Anyway, the fact that Bruno Guimaraes is ready to sign up for Newcastle, that's really a really impressive get. Really impressive get for them. But I don't know if I still don't know if it's going to be good enough to keep Newcastle up.
And even for Lyon, man, they sell Bruno Guimaraes for 40 million. They're getting Tanguy and Dembele on loan with no obligation to buy. And they did sign Romain Favre, which he is a good midfielder in Liga. He's got 7 goals and 5 assists, okay? 23 years old. He's a good player to have. And overall, I do understand they needed to sell a player. And they did. And Newcastle signed the player they needed. In my opinion, a really good midfielder. Really good. This is it. But I agree with you. Sorry. The Arsenal fandom need to get the striker. They need to get the striker. No doubt. But they need a midfielder like Bruno Guimaraes too, Breton. Like next to Thomas Partey. Like Odegaard, this is why Odegaard signing, I understand it. But at the same time, I was like, it's going to go against Smith Rowe at one time. They are going to clash for that position. And people can say, they'll play for winger. You play winger, Odegaard. Yeah, Odegaard will play. Saga will play one wing. Martinelli maybe plays the other wing. And it's Smith Rowe or Odegaard. Because no, Bruno Guimaraes would be better at 8 than Odegaard. No doubt in my mind. No doubt. So,
but the striker chase still continues, and I know Twitter was alight, Instagram was alight with what Alexander Isak potentially being in London at the same time as I think it was Adnan Januzaj, his Real Sociedad compatriot, was also in London, but it remains to be seen, exactly what that's for. And, London, beyond its football clubs, London does have a lot to offer. So maybe they were just there for a brief respite and some clubbing. But ultimately, hey, Alexander Isak could be the guy that they sign. But I'm with you. Arsenal needs to keep their head down and keep plugging away. And who knows? There's plenty of as we know, a lot can happen in the next day, 2 days. So they might have something under their sleeve just yet. But to go to Newcastle quickly, Newcastle is finding it tough. You got all this money you can throw at people, but you are running into that situation of competitive comparability. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Newcastle was going after Diego Carlos. Yeah. We know that it was relatively public. They were throwing money at him. He really isn't making that crazy of a base salary at Sevilla. But when it comes down to it, apparently he wants to stay in Sevilla. Sevilla very clearly wants him to stay. And why? Because they're only 4 points behind Real Madrid at the top at La Liga. They've got the best. Sevilla has the best defense in La Liga. Okay. They've only given up, I think they've only conceded about 16 goals this year. All right. So far, which is the best in the league. And that's not like the only metric that you have a defense behind, but Diego Carlos is very clearly one of the most underrated defenders on the planet. We made this clear the other day. And they went after him. They went pretty hard after him with multiple bids. And now they're settling for 15 million, or they're balking on 15 million for Dan Burn from Brighton Hove and Albion, right? Because they couldn't get Diego Carlos. So Newcastle is running into that kind of competitive situation where, how do you sell a club, but with just boatloads of money? They can't offer you anything else except Eddie Howe telling them how that they're going to eventually go to the Champions League. I don't know. You're fighting for your Premier League lives right now.
And they managed Bruno Guimaraes still. So
I know.
And they'll get others, Breton, because you know what I'm liking about Newcastle is the fact that the players that I'm seeing being linked up and the players that they are bidding, they all make sense. I even saw Gonçalo Inácio, which for me is the best one top 10 ball playing center backs out there. Okay, the best in Liga NOS. Gonçalo Inácio, and they are linking up and trying to get him. So Sven Botman, they got rejected. Gonçalo Inácio, they got rejected. Diego Carlos, they got rejected. But still, Newcastle is expected to get a no in life with these players. So maybe in a year's time, they're all saying yes, and they all know the agents, and they all know the fees. So I think it might happen. But yes, the big expose, going back to it, is if Arsenal don't get a forward, you will be relying on Eddie and Keita for the rest of the season. Aubameyang is out. I think even getting Gerard Moreno would be good for Arsenal. Okay? Even Tony's having problems at Brentford. Like, why not get him? Like, I'm literally, like, you guys need a striker, regardless where it comes. If Fiorentina are signing Artur Cabral for 15 million, you're telling me that Arsenal doesn't have the expertise in the club to sign a player like him at that same fee? Artur Cabral is. You think Artur Cabral will be like, I prefer Fiorentina to Arsenal? He's got the bags to play for Arsenal. I'm telling you. So, oh man, tough season.
It's tough. I mean, and even that, the depth that they have at striker is out the door, right? The little depth that they do have. Eddie Nketiah is likely not sticking around, and Valérien Balogun they have already sent to, I believe, Middlesbrough on loan. So you got Aubameyang in the wind, and your two academy strikers essentially no longer a part of the situation. So yeah, you want to see Arsenal just get that man, but I don't know. I feel like there's a situation where they're trying to hit too many areas when really they should just focus on their pick, go after them, razor focused, and if you got to pay more. To get it done, but
totally the player that I know, if we still haven't mentioned it, and it's a big topic in the transfers in my opinion, is Ousmane Dembele, because Barcelona want to offload as much as they can Dembele, as they should, and I saw news that they offered Dembele to Tottenham for 20 million, and in my opinion, it makes sense for Tottenham to go get him for that fee. It's a risk, but I see that with all the situation about Greenwood that we're going to talk more ahead. Greenwood leaving, Dembele is a big opening too for Man United, man. It saddens me that needs to be the case, but I don't know. Dembele, I think he'll be heading to the Premier League. I think Dembele is heading to the Premier League. So
yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that, and I don't know if you can't keep healthy in La Liga, I'm just not entirely sure how the hell you're going to keep healthy in the Premier League.
Facts.
I mean, that's something that has to be said because it's pretty rough and tumble. And
Dembu's in trouble, man. Dembu's in trouble.
I want to see him healthy. I really do. I just want to see him playing.
You want to see him playing? That is a perfect sentence to someone else we can lead up. And that guy just went to Everton.
Yes. Well, two from Manchester United. You get rid of Martial to Sevilla. Sevilla's in the middle of a La Liga, title hunt. And then you get rid of Donny van de Beek, to Everton. And to be honest, that wouldn't have happened if a certain somebody wasn't projected to become the coach in the very near future. Right?
Well, Martial at Sevilla, like, he's going to be top bins with Sevilla. In my opinion, he's going to look very, very different. And Martial will go bold at Sevilla, people. I believe in it, and he clearly believes in it by going bold himself. So, Lampard, yes, I agree with you, Breton. Like, great vision and great decision. And I want to say, too, if we're mentioning the Lampard decision to Everton, is they tried to get Wayne Rooney, as we suggested in the previous pod. But Wayne Rooney rejected and said it's not the right time. I have a contract with Derby. And I love to see that. I got to respect Rooney with that. Money, he's got the money. He's not desperate. He knows he's got a career going forwards. And yeah, I love that. It shows personality with Rooney. And yeah, Lampard, great decision. Trusting the youth. Okay, it's a decision that he's going to be looking more on the inside of the club. Anthony Gordon will love it. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, too, is going to be a player that Lampard is going to love. You can clearly see. And they might sell Richarlison with the arrival of Lampard. I expect something like that to happen, Breton. So, Donny...
I hope they don't.
Well, yeah, I think it will. Because Lampard he'll want some players. And Richarlison, too. Let's see. let's see. It's speculation on my
I think
end
it's
too.
more likely. I think it's more likely Dominic Calvert-Lewin heads to a place like Arsenal than it is where Charlatan leaves. But at the same time, this is the reality. Everton's in a relegation fight, right? They're more in a relegation fight than they are in a fight for European spots. We do know things can change in the second half of the season, but Frank Lampard, they need to put everything behind him, right? They need to put all their weight behind him, support behind him, because if there's one thing that seems to be the case, there's a lot of these like club legends getting a chance. A lot of people that there's two camps, right? It's the people that are saying that these guys get a chance because they were club legends. And then there are people saying that because they're club legends, essentially they know how to get things done. We know that doesn't necessarily translate to great managerial aspirations and careers. But the one thing that I just don't understand, Everton has resources. They've got, maybe an ownership group that divides people. Okay, maybe not as much as Tottenham's ownership group divided people, but they've got resources. They've got a new stadium coming online. At times, they have a history. They have a phenomenal rivalry, a phenomenal city, and a group of supporters that will follow the club to the ends of the earth. So you've got to put it behind Frank Lampard. Give him all the support you can muster. And hope that his ability of man management, his ability of bringing these players on and being that what's the word, players manager, hoping that will do enough to get you out of the mire this season, so that you can build for next. It's really crazy to me because Everton they have the resources, they just haven't been making the right decisions. So I'm excited to see it, and all I got to say is that, Frank Lampard at Everton, you got to circle these dates. 3 months from now, April 23rd, he's got the Liverpool derby, okay? A week later, he takes on his former club, Chelsea, okay? Circle those dates, man, because, Everton's going to either be worse off than they are now, or they're going to be trending upwards, and it'll be really interesting.
I believe they'll be trending upwards, Bretson. I agree. That's what a tough week that'll be for Lampard. I gotta say that. But leading up in the transfers, finishing up on my end, I have to mention now. People say, "Oh, you don't give love to Serie A." You don't. I'm gonna give love to Serie A because I'm seeing a club that I've been admiring how they've been doing business lately, and that's Inter Milan. That by the end of the season, Dzeko and Vidal are gonna go. That is facts. And 2 people are going to come. And one is Scamacca for 40 million, which is top business. And the second is the midfielder, Frattesi, for 25 million. Top business by getting the future of the Azzurri now at Inter. And then even with that, getting those 2 replacements of Dzeko and Vidal, then I see that they get Gozens. Like one of the best fullbacks attacking-wise. He destroyed every team in the Euros, man. I'm still traumatized with this guy. And Inter giving me flashbacks and signing him up, I gotta say, man, terrific deal. So getting the deals in. This is what I liked about Inter. They are focusing on the in players inside Serie A, and that's the way to go by getting Frattesi, Scamacca, and Gozens, man. Elite business, Inter. Elite business.
Scamacca is just sneakily, whether he's on loan or wherever he is, he just scores goals. He does. He just gets it done. He does a lot of work too that doesn't wind up on the stat sheet. But I do think the jewel in that heap of transfers coming in is Gozens for sure. Just every metric, when he's healthy, he is one of the better attacking fullbacks, if not the best. We're going to say one of the better attacking backs in Serie A because Theo Hernandez is pretty damn good. But Gozens is phenomenal. I think that actually makes him, I don't even know if this is a stat worthy of announcing, but I think that makes him the most expensive German in Serie A history.
That might
Go
be.
figure.
That might be. That might be.
I think it does. I could be wrong about it. But Gozens is, I think, the jewel in that cap. And you're right. I don't know I don't know if there's an Inter fan out there that would have said to us, without batting an eyelash, that Aiden Dzeko would do what Aiden Dzeko has been doing for them this season. Well, I think that was more of a stopgap until they find the next. But the fact that he has overperformed and just done so damn well in that Inter setup leads me to believe that Inter's not going anywhere anytime soon, even if Juventus is paying 75 million euros to bring in the striker that they probably wanted.
Agreed. And Inter are doing the right way by having this Italian core that is Scamacca, Frattesi, Bastoni, and Barella. Okay, these are 4 players that are going to be the future of Italy, and they are retained with Inter. So great deals. I gotta mention it, and we see Juventus doing top deals. We see Inter doing top deals. Come on, AC Milan. You got to step up, and you got to get my guy Gnat Sanch and Sven Botman. That I'm sick of seeing news of these 2 players going to AC Milan every single transfer window. Okay, you got to lock up Theo, Benacer, Rafael Leão, and get Gnat and get Sven Botman, man. You look much better, and like these 2 clubs, Inter and Juventus, doing top business in the transfer window, man.
Yeah, but I guess AC Milan is resigned to let Kessié go. They're not trying to retain him at all, right?
He's gonna go. Yeah. Kessié go.
Yeah. Well, that was a good shout in terms of Inter Milan, but I'm gonna bring it back. Who's been left out within the Premier League, and I just don't necessarily understand why. They haven't really been making any signings. West Ham United. Ham United. You've actually got resources. You've got one of the higher stories in terms of from a competitive aspect to bring people in, and they can't even get like Adam Hlozek over the line right now. So I'm really interested to see why that is.
I saw Calvin Phillips though.
Yeah, they threw a bunch of money at Calvin Phillips. They threw a bunch of money at Rafinha. I believe they were going after as well. No. So they're rating leads. And I think both of them have been hit back on that. So we'll see if they get something overboard. But I'm just over the board. But I'm surprised that with how good of a front season they've had, a first half of the season they've had, and how relatively consistent they've been. Because remember, we thought that they were going to be in turmoil at the beginning of last season, and they've done the complete opposite. And David Moyes has a lot of credit thrown his way for that.
Another variable that is underrated with West Ham is Mikel Antonio is a top 5 striker in the Premier League with West Ham. West Ham, okay? I'm not saying he is a top 5 striker in terms of ability, but with West Ham, he is a top 5 striker in the Premier League. Mikel Antonio.
I'm with you there, and I only wish he could have brought that form to Jamaica when Jamaica was beating Mexico 1-0 before they ultimately lost 2-1. Hey, the other team within the Premier League I have to bring up here because they do it under the radar right now. Is there a more underrated transfer policy than Brighton Hove Albion right now? Graham Potter has this system, and then there's also they're doing like sort of like miniature Manchester City moves. In that they're collecting some of the world's best talent, under the radar talent, okay? And if they're not playing them, they're loaning them out, which is hopefully raising their value for future resale if they never play for Brighton. Or maybe Brighton, if for some reason 1 year it doesn't go their way and they wind up back in the championship, they have a future that they can build around. Just listen to some of these names that they brought in. And I know anyone that plays Football Manager or FIFA Career Mode or Ultimate Team, they know these names, right? They're going to bring in Julio Enciso, okay? And I don't know if that's how you say his last name, but Paraguay's top prospect. He's everywhere I know in Football Manager. He's 18-year-old. No, that doesn't make him a great winger. He is a phenomenal prospect, though. Can play all across the front line. He likely is coming in, and he probably isn't going to play right away. He'll be loaned out. They brought in, remember Kasper Kozlowski?
Yes. Wonderful.
This player to play at the Europe. They brought him in recently, 18 years old, and maybe now 19. Brought him in for 11 million euros, loaned him to Belgium, and the kid is playing for the number 1 team. He hasn't played yet, but he's playing for the number 1 team in Belgium currently, right? That newly promoted team that is currently winning in Belgium. You brought in Abdallah Sima, who people probably don't know because they don't watch the Czech league, but he played for Slavia Prague, and was doing really, really well in the European competitions last year. He's loaned out as well for 7 million euros. Cucurella and Enoch Wepu, who we both know, who both have been pretty good players for them. Cucurella is probably one of the better players, young fullbacks in the league. They brought in Jacob Motor, Michael Karbaunik, okay, and I'm saying their names wrong, and Moises Caicedo, okay? These are all young players for small amounts of money, and they've only spent maybe about 10 million over. 10 million euros over what they brought in for Ben White.
Oh, so can you name all the players and then say the Ben White?
Yeah. Julio Enciso, Kasper Kozlowski, Abdallah Sima, Mark Cucurella, Enoch Mwepu, Jacob Motor, Michael Karbaunik, Moises Caicedo, all within the last season and a half, and they're only spending about 10 million euros more than what they brought in for Ben White. Okay? And that just, to me, under the radar, it's like one of the better transfer policies moving forward. I just love it.
I'll just say this. Caicedo and Kozlowski, when they sell Kozlowski, it's going to be more than it's going to be Ben White. Yeah. Oh, man. Embarrassing. And I got to say, Breton, highlight, man, to Brighton. They deserved it. And Bissouma's going to leave too, I think, for 50 million. Yeah. And who's going to get him? Arsenal!
Yeah. Maybe Arsenal.
Oh, my days.
I mean, he's going to go for 50 million, too.
Oh, my days. So 100 million with Ben White and Bissouma. And if you ask me, like, is those two players 100 million? I'm saying no. Yeah. I'm saying no. But I like Bissouma. I rate Bissouma, though. He's a good player, but 50. Yeah. Come on.
But it is amazing to me, like, Potter is already, he hasn't come out and said, but there have been rumblings from Brighton that has said they're confident in their ability to be competitive in the Premier League, even with letting Bissouma move on. Yeah, so I just love it because there's a process, it seems, at Brighton. Graham Potter, I think it has to be said, is probably the best English manager managing in England right now, right?
Yeah. I was going to say David Moyes, but then he's Scottish, so yeah.
Yeah, see, there's a little wrinkle there. I knew that. There's a little wrinkle there. But no. It's fun, it's impressive, and I get it.
Southgate.
Yeah. Well, there is Southgate.
But Southgate.
Come on. Like, here at FC Wonderkid, obviously we're biased towards this type of transfer policy. But I honestly do believe that they are building, they have a plan, and they're building to be a Premier League team and a top half Premier League team, hopefully, for years and years to come. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be seeing Brighton in the Champions League.
Well, Europa League, Conference League. Yeah, let's see it. Is there any other transfers we're missing out, Breton?
I mean, I have to bring up one. A couple more Americans have moved on, and I just don't know. I don't know how to tell you how historic this has been for American transfers. But we talked about Matt Turner going to Arsenal last week, right? It hasn't been announced yet, but it's likely over the line, the finish line. But they also, I don't know if you know this player, but Kevin Paredes, he's one of the breakout stars in Major League Soccer. Yep, wing back. He's slight, but he's building up. Wolfsburg just signed him for $7 million. And George Bello, another wing back on the same side, left back. He is the subject of, I think it's only like a $4 million bid because his contract is coming due. But he's likely headed to Arminia Bielefeld in Bundesliga. There was a little bit of a wrinkle where he thought he was, they wanted to sell him to Cercle Brugge and whatever. But anyway,
better. That would have been better.
It might have been better. I think to him, though, he looks at the Bundesliga the same way most American potential Wonderkids look at the Bundesliga. It's like, hey, that's where Reina and that's where Pulisic and that's where McKennie and that's where Tyler Adams have all kind of built their chops.
True.
I got to go there. And in a World Cup year, I do not blame him. At all. And then finally, I got to say right now, Gaga Slonina. I don't know if you know him. Gabriel Slonina.
The goalkeeper.
Yep, the goalkeeper who came through at Chicago Fire last year has played very, very well. He's actually in the national team camp right now for these World Cup qualifiers. 17 years old, growing like a weed. Phenomenal shot stopper, although there's a better shot stopper in the Chicago Fire Academy in Chris Brady. But anyway, Gabriel Slonina apparently is the subject of about a $15 million bid from a couple Premier League teams.
Who?
So,
Who?
If that happens, okay, and I don't know who. Hey, I'm not the actual, guy. You gotta go to Taylor Twellman or Tom Bogan or somebody. But if that happens, if he goes for $15 million, and I doubt it'll be that high, but if he goes for $15 million, he will be the most expensive teenage goalkeeper transfer, or second most expensive teenage goalkeeper transfer in history.
A U.S. Oh my days! That is bold.
It'd be huge.
That'd be bold. That'd be bold.
So I'm just saying, Taylor Twellman said it 4 or 5 years ago. He said this is the beginning. Christian Pulisic, McKennie, that was just the beginning. And I've been saying it for the last, since we've been doing this, last 8 months.
Fact.
It's a market you have to watch because these academies are just starting to churn these players out. And this is just the start of a machine that...
I gotta do it. I had a quick fire question that is totally related to this. I'm gonna do it right now. Do you think you will see a U.S. player winning a Ballon d'Or in your lifetime, Breton?
Oh my God, in my lifetime?
I hope so, man. I really hope you.
Oh my gosh, it's good.
Man,
yes.
You deserve it.
in my biased heart, and from watching MLS come into in 1996, I was a little tyke. Watching this happen, I can't make the leap right now to say yes to that. But I do think that growth for US is going to be exponential and not linear. Okay. I really do believe it's going to be just a phenomenal increase in those possibilities. But as of right now, I can't look at that and say yes. Man. But in my lifetime, yeah, I have no clue.
Come on, if you ask me. If
you and I are still talking 20, 30 years from now, right, about this stuff, ask me then. But yeah, what's your thought on that?
I believe you will, man. I really believe you will because the scalability of football in the U.S. is growing a lot. So is there any other transfer?
No, just wanted to bring that up there because I'm an excited human being, an excited fan to see the U.S. guys do it. But no, we hit every major transfer that's already happened, and I'm actually proud of that there, man. So, where do you want to go next?
So there you go, guys. If there's any transfer that we have missed out, please put down below in the comment section, okay? And we will gladly answer. But general news, a bit of AFCON because, come on, look at these Cameroon forwards going bold. I got to mention fast. Both Ekambi and Abubakar have 11 goals in the competition. 5 for Ekambi, 6 for Abubakar. I don't know if Abubakar will stay in Al Nassr, my guy. So it's looking good. It's looking good. And they are going to go up against the winner of Egypt or Morocco. So Cameroon is going to have a tough match next. And it's looking good. Overall, the team. Then you have Martin Ongla, the midfielder, with 3 assists. Then we have Collins Fai, 3 assists too. The whole team seems to be flourishing. And Onana, man, some of those saves are ridiculous. He might be... No, he's the best keeper in AFCON, okay, in my opinion. So, there you go. There you go.
I'm with you. Yeah, and those are... I mean, that's... we knew it was going to happen too, right? Abubakar, Ekambi, we both said it. We're like, you just can't not see the host nation scoring a whole bunch of goals with these two guys leading the line. And it's just great. Abubakar did not have his best game his last game. And Ekambi kind of picked up the slack the same way he did with Villarreal. He hasn't been doing it really with Lyon yet, but at Villarreal, he was relatively prolific when he was healthy. But I love, I didn't write him down at all. I love your shout of Martin Ongla because he's barely playing for his club. And I don't even know what club he plays for. Is he in Belgium?
Ligue 1, I think Ligue 1. So
okay. Yeah, and sure. Yeah, and I would love to see more of him
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to it. But I think Cameroon is fun. They're fun
And
to watch, but they have the
then,
hardest path.
then you have on the other side, you have Burkina Faso that is already there, and it's gonna go against Senegal, but you never know. But
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Senegal, and Senegal. This is a stat that when I saw it, I was like, I gotta say it. And Sadio Mane has scored 44% of Senegal's goals since 2017. Oh my days! Talk about carrying a nation. Oh, Sadio Mane, man. I had to say it. And I have to say, too, Mo Salah eliminating the Ivory Coast with the last penalty. That is a moment that is going to be always in Salah's memory, in my opinion, in AFCON.
Yeah.
So, it's looking good.
Can we, in the same breath of heaping praise on Mo Salah, ask Eric Bailly, what the heck were you thinking on that penalty kick? He tried a no-look penalty kick. I don't understand it, right? The Ivory Coast had every possibility to get through Egypt, and they just penalty kicks suck to begin with. But to go up there and have the gall to do what he did just made no sense to me. But hey, what can you do? And I got to go back to Burkina Faso because that's just a massive accomplishment for them to make it to the semis. And there's a couple young guys that are leading the way for them. We all know Edmond Tapsoba, right? Edmond or Edouard? Edmond.
Edmond Tapsoba.
Tapsoba, who obviously was in Liga Nosh. Before it was Liga B win. And now applies his trade for Bayer Leverkusen. And when he's healthy, he is just a phenomenal specimen to watch. But he has been one of the biggest reasons why the Burkinese have gotten here. You have Bertrand Traore, who's not young anymore, hasn't really played for Villa much this year, but I remember a time when he was spraying goals in for Lyon and some other teams. Also played for Chelsea for a while, right? He was part of that academy, I think.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
But the big name that allowed them to shock Tunisia was Dango Ouattara, who's 19 years old and plays for one of the worst teams in League One, coming up through there. But not only did he score the match winner, he had the wonderful privilege of scoring the match winner against Tunisia and then promptly getting a red card and getting sent off so that he could not play in the semifinals. So I'm sorry, buddy, but that's just not it. But hey, he got them there, and Burkina Faso could potentially beat Senegal or Equatorial Guinea to make it to the final of AFCON. You never know.
And because we're joining general news with the Wonderkids, I gotta ask you the question that the world seemed to ask after a game at AFCON, and it is Achraf Hakimi the best right back in the world for you, Bretson? Because in my opinion, I put Trent ahead of him, and I put Drunken Sil.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, is he the best right back in the world, Hakimi?
No, he's not the best right back. No matter what Kylian Mbappe says, he's not the right back. Not the best right back in the world right now. I believe Trent Alexander-Arnold just can offer what Achraf does, and then some. I mean, but Hakimi with that free kick, that was pretty sublime. I think the guy, the Malawi player, what's his name, Gabadinho, that scored that ridiculous goal, though, he takes the cake. But no, Achraf Hakimi to me is not the best right back in the world. But I'm here. I'm here for that argument all day and all night because it's an argument that people should have. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Achraf Hakimi are the two best right backs in the world right now. And I think TAA has a better skill set. And it just could be that the platform I watch more often, this could be kind of recency bias or availability bias. I see a whole lot more of Trent Alexander-Arnold than I see of Achraf Hakimi. And that, I'm not going to lie, that probably does play a role.
I watch Hakimi on a weekly basis. I watch PSG every single game. And I can tell you, Hakimi has moments. He is solid, but Trent has those magnifique moments. And Hakimi's going to have them too at PSG because, in my opinion, the team that has the best under 23 duo at fullbacks, and it's no discussion over there. Yeah. It's PSG with Nuno Mendes at the left and Hakimi at the right. That is no discussion right there. And I want to just sprinkle this and say Nuno Mendes is improving a lot lately, okay, at PSG. And guys, I'm confident, fully confident that he's going to stay at PSG and he's going to become a legend in Portuguese football and at PSG, guys. So, yeah, he's improving, man. He's really he's the movements going forwards, the crosses are going in, the one-on-one tackling. Nobody wants to go up against him because you're not faster than him. So it's going well. It's going well.
Yeah, it's just a firm reminder that the development of a player isn't ever linear or straight up. You know, Kylian Mbappe's and Erling Haaland's do not grow on trees. Their rise are essentially stratospheric, and yet Erling Haaland can't beat Bayern Munich. Right? There are all sorts of. Everyone's got their kryptonite. So I say Nuno Mendes, and I get it. I get, like, you know, a lot of the people that listen to us probably heard their first flavor of you saying Nuno Mendes. But ultimately, we do need to take a pause and say these players are still raw and still growing. And there is no doubt that Nuno Mendes has those potential possibilities to get to that world-class stratosphere in like more than one attribute. Right? He's a hell of a canvas. That is still getting painted, and I'm here for that development. And PSG
already top 10 fullback left back in the world, in my opinion. Nuno Mendes. I just wanted to say that already right now with how he's playing, and he's gonna prove it. It's gonna be a big boy matchup against Real Madrid. Any result, any youngster, we're gonna see maybe Nuno Mendes flourish for PSG, Hakimi for PSG, and we're gonna see maybe Vini Jr. flourishing for Real Madrid. Man, that's gonna be insane, that game. That is. But going back to you're mentioning the growth of a player, and I'm gonna mention two youngsters that made two different decisions. Okay, at Man United, and one of them I'm gonna start with the positive note because I see this loan deal from Rangers to get Amad Diallo, and boy, he only needed 4 minutes to score on his debut for Rangers. And I gotta say, I was shocked when I saw that Rangers got this loan deal because Amad Diallo is gonna be like he was in that game. In 66 minutes, he was the player with the most dribbles, the player with the most fouls won, the player that was most exciting to watch, and he managed to score. So, elite business. And I have to say, too, Amad Diallo scored in his senior debut for Atalanta. He scored in his first match for Man United. His first shot for Man United. He assisted on his first Premier League game. And now he scores 4 minutes in for Rangers. Ridiculous stat. Almost reminds me of Rashford, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think he even scored on his home debut for the Ivory Coast. So, you know, Amad Diallo is one we just want to see more of. He just needs to play. You can say that about a lot of the Manchester United talents that they might actually have to rely on once we start talking about the negative side that I really am squirmy and don't want to talk about. But staying on that positive side, Amad Diallo at Rangers, I think that it's a great place for him to go. And I did this person after you coming out to me as a Celtic fan. No, just kidding. That you prefer Celtic over Rangers. I had to show my solidarity on the other side. But I grew up with Claudio Reyna. I grew up loving Rangers, Gattuso. We talked about this last week. So we got to start some drama here. When there's an old firm, maybe we got to go live.
I go Celtic, you go Rangers. I respect that. I got an American on both sides though, so I win either way.
Cameron Carter-Vickers has been great for Celtic, and now I got James Sands in the midfield for Rangers.
Whoa, but I got the best player, and that's Jota.
About to lose a possibility to gain points on Rangers. And I believe it was Jota that provided the assist to Abada to win that game yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever that was. So
man,
I love it. I love it. But do we
Yeah.
talk about the negative side?
We got to talk about the negative side, and we don't want to see it. And like, let's first see what happens. But Mason Greenwood has been accused of something we don't want to see, and we're not proud of it. But let's see what happens, man. But Mason Greenwood has been accused of mistreating a woman, okay? And as I said, let's see what happens. And it's not looking good.
No, it's not. It's not looking good at all. And I think obviously for us as a podcast, FC Wonderkid, right? It's in the name. We follow all these players. We want to see them do well. But if what has come out and the video that has come out and the audio that has come out is verified and true and all that crazy stuff, completely inexcusable on his end. But in a period like this, when obviously as a podcast we think about the Wonderkids first, right? You got to remember that there's the other side, and there is a person that has been victimized, and there is a person that has been mistreated horribly. So regardless, those bruises came from somewhere. That mistreatment came from somewhere, and I just hope that she gets the help that she needs, the support that she needs, and it's just tough. It's tough to see, and from a purely selfish footballing perspective, this is just not how you ever want to see things play
100%. Out. You hit the money, bro. You hit the money, and that's our say on that. But I want to end it up. Though the Wonderkids news, just with a positive note, end up the podcast with. It's the Moukoko situation, man. And truth is, his contract is until 2023. And I don't think he'll stay at Dortmund, man. And I don't think he's gonna extend his say. So where do you think Youssoufa Moukoko will end up? Personally, I think it will be or at Real Madrid or Barcelona. But do you think he'll go to the Premier League?
If he was smart, I'd stay in Germany.
He's not playing, man.
I understand that. Not with Dortmund. I would.
Sorry.
People Eintracht Frankfurt, VfB Stuttgart. I mean, there are teams within Germany that would likely get him and start him day one. And whether it's a loan to buy, we've seen it in the past. Hell, we saw it with Andre Silva. I know he's not anywhere close to as young as him, but Andre Silva restarted his career right in the Bundesliga, and Moukoko just needs to play and staying close to his support system, staying close to his friends, staying close to everything that he knows makes the most sense, I think, for a guy as young as he is and a kid with as much talent. But breaking through at Dortmund's proven.
Or Ajax. Imagine Ajax too for Moukoko. And the other thing I got to mention up to is Pedri. I sent you the pictures, man. If you guys need to see, Pedri is bulking up. And now you bring in Adama Traore. I'm sure going to see Pedri with a bunch of more kilos of muscle. Okay, big boy Pedri now. But I believe solidly, really believe that Pedri is going to go bold next season, okay? And Xavi is going to have a world-class midfielder right there because I am seeing the physical attributes of him improving. And when that happens, when you see a player that's working inside the pitch and outside the pitches a lot, you got a star. And I believe in Pedri.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to what we've seen hit Twitter on Adama Traore. I mean, Wolves fans might not have ever gone this deep with Adama Traore, but there was video of him staying after practice to get help on what we all know is something he needs help on, and that's finishing. So the guy, let's see how it plays out. But I'm here with the popcorn. I'm ready to watch Pedri glow up and get the Leon Goretzka muscles. I'm ready to see Adama Traore go and turn Barcelona into a different version of the old Barcelona. I'm excited. I'm excited for all this. And hey, we still got 48 hours left. with with transfer craziness. So
That
buckle up, get your popcorn. I know Fabrizio. I don't know if he listens to us in any way, shape, or form, but we all know he's going to be doing this live.
Yeah.
So get on that live, get excited about it, and we'll see what clubs make some deals to make some moves for the coming few months.
We got to see. You got to see what happens. And I just want to quickly address something that people on TikTok have been messaging and putting comments in. When are you going bold? When are you going bold? When are you going bold? And I'm answering it. Okay? If you guys really, but really want to see me go bold, you guys got to go bold first. And if you get to 1 million followers on FC Wonderkid TikTok, I will for sure go bold. I will go bold, Breton. If we get to the milli on TikTok, I will shave my head and I will go bold live on TikTok. So click on the plus, the follow. It's that simple. Go bold on it. And yeah, I will go bold. I don't know what I just did, man.
I believe you. I believe you. And hell, I'll even throw myself into this situation here. But I don't. I mean, I just love we're steadily growing, right? On all platforms, but right now there's two of us.
Yes.
There's two of us, and obviously growth comes with creating more content. So understanding maybe a little more direction wise where the people that listen to us would like us to go. We would love to hear from you. Mm-hmm.
So guys, put in the comment section below any feedback, anything we have to improve, like. Deadline day, we're going live, man. I'll go live. We gotta talk about these transfers that will be happening. So, people, like anything we can improve, please put down below, man. And yeah, episode 41 in the books. Big up transfers episode. I loved it. I'm hyped. I'm still hyped. I could do another one of transfers.
Yeah, there was a lot we didn't mention, so that's absolutely.
So, guys. Thank you for listening to FC Wonderkid episode 41. Please put down below if there's anything we haven't mentioned. And have a nice week.